Okay, so this is the new Jack in the Box, the Art the Clown from the Terrifier movies Jack in the Box. I call myself Mr. J Box, some of you probably know, and you can find more of my work on my Instagram page, Mr. J Box. And yeah, without further ado, I'll just go through the Jack in the Box, how it's made, what it does, and before I get started, I want to say thank you very much to everyone that has subscribed to my account. It's really appreciated. I never thought that I would get more than a few followers. So to get, well, I'm up to 1,000 now. So yeah, once again, thank you so much to everyone that subscribed to me. I don't make a lot of Jack in the Boxes. These do take quite a long time to make, and yeah, so much appreciated. Anyways, without further ado, this is the Art the Clown Jack in the Box from the Terrifying movies. So what we have here is a resin made head, hand painted, and blood splatter background. Now the blood splatter background on the lid is really nice. It's actually I actually got this from an art shop. They had different coloured displays for blood splatter, which is I just thought would work really well. And usually I always do a paper backing or a wood stain backing because once the lid is closed and it rubs against the head, in this particular case, Art the Clown has a sharp hat. It can actually do some damage if you have painted or wood stained lids. So this paper works really well. Now, in the base of the box, also blood splatter because it's a gory movie. There's a lot of blood splatter, and I think this works really well. So this is actually all hand painted. So I just blew red paint over a white painted base. I will say one thing too. There is probably a good 60 to 70 to maybe even 80 layers of white spray paint on this wood panel, because when you sand wood down, even with the fine sandpaper, it looks smooth, it feels smooth, but once you start spray painting, all those little lines and crevices, natural lines in the wood, really show up with the paint. So that's why I had to do so many layers. It looks very glossy and very smooth, almost like plastic, but it is actually wood. And there's also a hole here where you put your finger. I just wanted to make the Jack in the Box a bit more interactive. So when you put your finger in the hole, basically a solenoid switch. These are switches that are used to control pinball flippers. They one of those will hit your finger. It doesn't hurt. It's just an effect. Make it a bit more interactive, and also a second sound module that's in here. There's two sound modules. This is the second sound module will activate the effect of someone screaming and a chainsaw. So I think that kind of adds a bit more humor to the Jack in the Box and more interactivity. Now, with the Art the Clown haberdashery, this was actually quite a challenge because Art the Clown has half black, half white material. So usually I don't actually do any sewing. What I usually do is I take one piece of material, wrap it around, and then do an iron-on sort of backing to secure the back, which is really strong. It works out really well. But I was worried that doing it on the front would be sort of not secure enough, not strong enough. So behind this cotton, or sorry, satin, there's another layer of material to really hold the tension of the inside spring, because there is a lot of tension. There's a very strong spring, stronger than most store-bought Jack in the Boxes, because the weight of the head it's solid plastic. There's a bit of weight to it, so you need quite a strong spring to make the puppet erect. So that was quite a challenge, and it's actually worked out really well. It's very strong, and I'm very happy with that. So it looks great. On the front of the box is a great piece of artwork I found on Art the Clown, which I put on the front. It has the blood splatter and a red circle and black circle going around it, which is kind of my trademark for pictures on the front of the Jack in the Box. How I did that was actually a new way. What I usually do is take a inkjet printer and print it out onto a glossy side of a shipping label and then transfer it onto the wood. But this particular one, I didn't do that, even though that is a great technique. This one here was actually a t-shirt transfer. So I took the image onto a t-shirt transfer, which is designed to go onto t-shirts in cotton, and I find it works really well with wood. So that just ironed onto the wood beautifully. So that's that one. Box is all finished in nice stain black, and I've turned on the side here. I've got a new handle as well. So my old handles were made from a copper tubing, and the right angle part of that handle, which is a separate piece, was actually a picture hook I would actually bend. That's all gone now. That's all changed. So now it's actually stronger, much stronger, and aesthetically a lot more nicer to look at. So the steel rod is stainless steel rod coming through, which is connected to the music box, and also stainless steel bent using pliers rod that gets inserted into the hollow rod to make the handle. And I've got a cool like red ball, wooden red ball for the handle, which spins also. And it's all held in place by crimping it with pliers after I've used a Dremel tool to file down some of the steel to make it flat. That way it's completely locked in there, and I'm really happy with that. Much better design, stronger. I was never very confident with the original handles that I used to make. They all worked fine, but with this you can be a bit more aggressive with it. And so yeah, very happy with that. Turn the box around a bit more. There's the two sound modules. There's one's for the chainsaw effect, and one's got screaming effects plus the theme tune from the Art the Clown movie. On the back, I have one button, one switch. This switch here activates the lights. So you can turn the lights on and off on this switch. And this green switch here is a bit of a novelty, which basically, if anything was ever to happen to the handle, if it was ever to break, which I am 100% sure wouldn't happen, but just in case anything actually did happen to it, then this green button opens the box electronically, which I'll go through a bit later when I show you the battery compartment. Turn the box around. Also, the lid's very nice too. Like that's a black finish with protective corners, and if you can see, you can probably just make it out, but that's a glitter finish. So it's a gloss finish with glitter through it, which is quite nice as it lights up at night time. Take the box around to this side, and this is the panel here where I keep the batteries. Now, most of my Jack-in-the-Boxes, I make a really nice sort of like panel here with an opening door where you can access the batteries. But because there's so many batteries in here, I was a bit overzealous when I made this Jack-in-the-Box. There's quite a lot going on electronically. There's quite a few batteries in there. So basically, it still was very simple to access the batteries, but basically you need a Phillips head screwdriver. There's 5 screws in total, 2 at the top, 3 at the bottom, that hold this panel in. Which I will take off a little bit later to show you the inside of the box. And on top of that, you got the inside of the box, and you've got a trigger switch here and another one on the other side that operates the lights. This one operates the sound module, and obviously there's trigger switches inside the hole where you put your finger that operate the other electronics. On the bottom of the box, I put I probably won't do this again, but I put some grip pads in the back there. Plus I printed my Mr. J Box logo on the back there just to give it a bit more authenticity. But yeah, I probably wouldn't do these pads again because it does actually offer a bit too much grip, which kind of really isn't that necessary. I actually prefer the box to be able to slide around a bit more, but this is actually quite grippy. So yeah, I'll close the box and give a demonstration. Now on my YouTube videos and my Instagram videos, I always do just a 1-minute video of the box opening, just so it gets straight to the point. You know, as these videos that I'm making right now, I don't really rehearse these videos. I just sort of like go with the flow and talk about the box and show how it all works. But I push the clown in and make sure his arms, his hands all tucked in as well. You don't want them hanging over the edge, because you do have a bit of space there for the trigger switches and whatnot, but sometimes when the hands are there, the box is sometimes hard to close, or it won't close at all. So that's all tucked in. I'm using one hand to hold it all in place, and then close the lid down. And I'll just swap hands there. And I'll just use the lid to hold them down there. Take my hand out, make sure the hands are still in there, and close the lid. When you hear that click, you know it's closed. That is a super strong lock. That is very strong. And we'll flip the switch on the back to activate the lights. So those lights are activated, but they're not on. They won't turn on until the lid opens up, because once the lid opens up, the trigger switch, which I showed you before inside, will push up and activate the lights. So these trigger switches that are inside that activate the lights in the sound module kind of like work in reverse. Once the switch is down, it's actually off. Once it's up, it's on. So the lid sort of operates as a mechanism for that. Very strong structure, very sturdily made, and these are the hinges on the back, also stainless steel. And just a little ingenious idea, which I recently started doing on my jack-in-the-boxes, is just basically putting a large chunk of wood, a square piece of wood in the back there. So when the lid opens up, the lid doesn't open at a full 90-degree, well, 180-degree angle. It stays up on a 90-degree angle. So you can see the back of the wood, and it puts less pressure on the hinges when the box opens up. So let's crank her up and see what we got. So I play Swan Lake. So I just turned the lights off there because it is daytime here now, so I want to get some sort of experience with how you see the lights at nighttime. You do see that on my other video, but as you can see, it lights up quite brightly. There's 4 flashing lights. The sound module is quite loud as well, which I think is important. You don't want to be too low in volume. You want people to get a bit of a shock. And yeah, it has the screaming effect, and it has the theme tune from the actual Terrifier movie. Now to switch that off, it's very simple. You just push the trigger switch like this. And that's it. Same with the lights too. Like the lights, the trigger switch is here, so you can push them off and then let go, it comes back on. Turn it off and then let go, they're back on again. Now to turn the lights off permanently, you just have to flip the switch on the back of the box, the black switch which I showed you before. Now before I do that, I like to actually have my finger down on the trigger switch to turn the lights off first, and then flip the switch off. So the lights are off permanently now. And as I explained before, the module for the sound module that activates the theme tune to the movie is right here as well. So that when that's down, it's simulating the lid's closed. And then when the lid opens, turn off. And that's how that works. Now, the finger here is just like a little bit of fun. So an unsuspecting person puts their finger in the hole if they dare, and basically this happens. Now to turn that off, you do have to tap the switch again. So it will go quiet, but the sound module is still activated, and after a few seconds it will kick in again until you put your finger back in there and switch it back off again. So just wait, it will come back on again. And there we go. So to turn that off, finger back in, and it will turn off. And that's basically the function and what it does and how it looks and how it all works. And yeah, I'm very happy with that. Now I'll show you the battery compartment. So basically this side, now there are 5 screws here, but to save time in the video, I've just put 2 screws in there just to make it a bit sort of less time consuming. So I'll just take those 2 screws out. I'm just using a large head Phillips screwdriver. Okay, there's one, and the other one's just up here. Okay, the screws over here. And remove the panel and put that down here. And as you can see, these are the batteries. There's quite a few batteries. There is there's 2 9-volt batteries here. These operate the lights. There's a set of 3 AAA batteries. This first set of 3 operates the sound module for the theme tune. This second set of 3 batteries operates a second sound module that activates the chainsaw sound effect. And there's a 9-volt battery here which operates the solenoid switch, which is inside the hole there where you put your finger. So there's a little solenoid switch. Once you put your finger in there, it just taps the finger lightly, and then the sound module goes off as well at the same time. So that's what all that does. Now, what I was saying before about the green switch in the back, which is like an emergency button to open the Jack-in-the-Box. Like I said, it's just for emergencies, so there is no real space to put the batteries there. But if worst case scenario, you're about to use that green switch to open the box up because something may have happened to the crank handle, which is very unlikely. They got 2 terminals here for 2 9-volt batteries. So I've got 2 9-volt batteries here. I'll put them in place and give you a quick demonstration of how that works. One here and one there. Like I said, it's just a precaution. It will probably never need to be used, but you never know. One of the reasons I've done that is because a long time ago, a young child was playing about with the crank handle and turned it as fast as they could really heavily. And that was before I made these very strong ones, and it actually snapped off here. And it's an easy fix to put a new handle on there. I set them a new handle, but I just thought, just in case, you know, this is going to be a nice little backup. So I'll close the box. Now, incidentally, like I said, push it in there first, then tuck the hands and the arms in, just in front of him. The lock-in mechanism inside is very strong. They're actually made for cabinets. And this here, this is the lock that locks inside it. It's quite neat and clean looking, so I quite like it, and it's very strong because there is a lot of pressure to build up there. So I'll just close the lid. I'll just move this hand. Oops. Tried to push the trigger switch, and I was using the force of the lid there just to push the clown back into the box. Oh, and one other thing too, you'll notice when I lock the lid, it doesn't lock. Okay, so why that is because you need to keep cranking the handle to reset the box. So if I keep cranking it just a couple of times, you'll hear a click. So here we go. You hear that click? That's just the box resetting. The box is reset after that click, and now when you lock it and close it, it's locked. You hear that click, and that is well and truly locked in there. Now I'll show that green button on the back of the box again. See, that's that green button there. I'll just turn the box back around, and without cranking the handle, hopefully, this is the first time I've tried it, the box will open up just by pushing this green button. So there we go. And of course it triggers the sound module. You can turn the lights back on. I'll turn those off, and I'll turn the sound module off. Boom. And I'll take those 2 9-volt batteries off and put the panel back on. Now all this writing on the side of the box here, it says basically my signature. It just says Mr. J Box. It's number 49. It's my 49th Jack-in-the-Box. The date is on there from when it was made, or this is when it was finished, which was the 1st of January 2025. So first Jack-in-the-Box for 2025, and it's the first one for a long time since I made one with a turning handle, a crank handle. Sometimes I have a push button one, sometimes I make a music box where you just lift the lid up manually, but this is a proper bona fide working Jack-in-the-Box with the crank handle as well. What I'll do is I'll take these batteries out, because I want to keep it in storage. I don't just worry about leaving batches in there for a long time, leakages and whatnot. So I'll just take these out, put these to the side, and put the lid back on, the panel back on, sorry. Yeah, so these Jack in the Boxes they can take up to 2 months to make, but particularly this one. This one took a long while because of the hole in there and all the extra electronics. Otherwise, it probably would have taken about a month. Because people do ask me for Jack in the Boxes, and they say, "Oh, can I get it by next week, or can I get it in a few days, or can I get 3 Jack in the Boxes made?" And it's just like, well, yeah, you can, but it takes quite a while. It takes quite a long time to make one, simply because yeah, it's just built totally from scratch, from the ground up. Like the whole box is made by hand. The internal spring that I use inside the puppet is completely made by hand. It's all sort of crafted from the ground up, and there's a lot involved. There's electronics involved, there's haberdashery involved, there's sculpting involved, molding and pouring in plastic mold resin, a lot of sanding, a lot of woodwork involved. So yeah, they're not quick to make, and they take quite a while. And in between working a full-time job and looking after my 3-year-old son, it's it's not something that can be knocked up quite quickly. So yeah, like I said, I don't post a lot of content, but I do really appreciate all the subscribers and all the followers and all the views and all the people that have bought my Jack in the Boxes, made nice comments, and even negative comments. I don't mind. So yeah, that's pretty much the Art the Clown from the Terrifier movie Jack in the Box. I hope you like it, and thank you very much.